Welcome back to the college football landscape, where the stories are big and the games are even bigger. From Athens to Auburn, we're tracking every play, every rivalry, and the entire national championship chase. So let's set the table. Grab your coffee, because the countdown to kickoff starts right now. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Kickoff. You're locked into football and coffee with Casey and Craig.
What a wonderful intro. My gosh. Casey, you did such a good job with that. I'm just wondering, how did you get your voice so high?
It's AI slop.
Oh my goodness. Oh, did you know that I had a big AI slop argument on there?
What?
People can get mean on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, I put out a thing for Message Board Geniuses I just wanted to see a new logo. It was more me, just again selfish, and I put it out there, and MBG liked it. But apparently, it had one of my co-hosts it had the Virginia logo on his arm. But you would have had to like scroll in to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, there were two guys that were like AI slop.
Yeah, there was a guy who was getting some colorful language, so I dropped a meme from De Niro in Goodfellas that maybe you offended him a little bit. Maybe you were a little out of line.
What, am I a clown?
He didn't like it. He was not amused. And then I blocked him and reported him to Elon, and Elon said, it's no problem. He was fine. So apparently you can go tell people to go do some things and whatever else. Anyway, grab your coffee. It's time to talk ball. Welcome to Football and Coffee. I am Craig. My buddy Casey's there with his sweet tea. God forbid he actually has a coffee. And we've got a fun little show for you tonight. We're going to talk a little College Sports Act and maybe some of the great amendments that are coming through. Casey's favorite preseason coaching polls are coming through.
Yes.
And then for our second cup, we're going to ditch the coffee. We're going to have a little bourbon and ball action.
Get a little stronger up in here.
Yeah, a little FSU 3 times from Twitter, Bourbon and Ball on TikTok. Mitch is going to come and talk all about the Knowles and some other fun things. And then we'll bring our buddy Paul back for our Irish coffee. But first, a word from our sponsor. Casey, take it from the top, my friend.
All right. Let me get to that thing. They told you, don't read the comments. They warned you, stay off the message boards. But let's be honest, that's where the actual magic happens. If you love the absolute unhinged, stricken, over-optimistic glory of college football fandom, you need to be listening to the Message Board Geniuses podcast, hosted by the ombudsman of college football himself, MBG, alongside Casey and me, Ma, Courtney, for those that don't know her, affectionately by her, what's it called? Nickname. The MBG podcast dives deep into the digital trenches to dissect the wildest, funniest, and most delusional fan posts on the internet, and some really big guests as well, including another one recording this week. I'm not going to spoil it because MBG might fire me, but we got
you're on the show?
Another big guest this week. That's me. Yeah. I even got my shirt today. I even got my shirt on.
I need to get a shirt.
You have to pay for it, guy. I had to pay for it, and I'm even like on the payroll.
You're the producer and you had to pay for it? What is this business?
No, but it is. Thank you for doing that. You wrote that, and I butchered it, but thank you for doing that because I do love those guys, and we haven't had a show in 2 weeks, and I miss them dearly. And that is my baby, and it's not my baby. They let me ride coattails. This is my side chick, if you will.
I'm your side piece.
But it's a great show. It's a lot of fun, and I love those guys, and so we're looking forward to get back. So I'm glad. Thank you for putting that in there this week.
Of course. And if you would like your ad read on Football and Coffee, reach out to Casey and I, and we can discuss something, and we won't even make you pay for a T-shirt.
Reach out to Craig.
Yeah, I don't
answer emails. Yeah, I don't answer emails.
I don't have my email here, so you can just DM me on Twitter or TikTok or whatever you want to do. Anywho, Casey, the Protect College Sports Act didn't get voted on this week. Insert your shocked face. President Trump came out, wagged his finger on Truth Social, The Big Ten and SEC said, hey, we need to get this done. And what happens when we rely upon Congress to try to get anything done? Nothing happens. So
What?
I know it's a shock. It's a shock. We were trying to talk about it last week on here. I re-listened to the show and I was like, wait, I'm confused, but that's okay. It doesn't take much to confuse me. But I wanted it. Something spicy came up. Representative Ashley Moody, Republican from Florida. I'll be honest. I had no idea she was a senator. I probably failed, despite being a former AP government class, did not know Senator Moody was there. She added an amendment on Thursday night, and it said this. Thanks to our good friend Ross Dellinger. We got to have him on the show at some point.
He's a good guy.
He has great beanies. He's always I think he's the GOAT right now of college football writers. Anyway, Ross Dellinger reported that there was an amendment to create an exception to allow any P4 school to change conferences without sitting out a 5-year independent waiting period that the College Sports Act had. So originally, the College Sports Act said, hey, Clemson, if you want to join the SEC, you have to be an independent for 5 years, and then you can join. Well, Senator Moody probably didn't care much about Clemson, but there's probably 2 other universities in there, maybe FAU and South Florida, and basically said, hey, let's get rid of that. So my question to you, my friend, are you ready for another round of realignment?
Oh, God. I mean, we've been talking about it for how many years, right? We've been talking about, when the super conferences come out. I mean, that's basically what Senator Moody, is it Senator Moody?
Yeah, Senator Moody. Senator, I don't want to say
I don't know
representative.
politics, so it doesn't. Sorry out there for those people that like politics. I don't. So
Former
Senator
AP
Moody,
teacher here.
yeah, that's why we're yin and yang. But Senator Moody decided, you know what? We're not going to have any barriers, I guess, for these super conferences. We might as well start it now. The problem is, Craig, it's probably not going to happen, but it certainly led to fodder. Heck, we're talking about it, right?
Yeah, I think that's the interesting part, and I think I want to start with.
Give us a call.
Yeah,
Manscaped.
Rumor has it that Manscaped is in the market for a new sponsor. Well, thanks, Paul. Maybe he wants to bring back the old podcast.
Yeah, well, we're merch whores, Emily. Like we'll put anything on a shirt. Now, wear it in public is another thing, but we'll put anything on it.
Maybe not anything, but mostly anything. We'll get an Etsy shirt. We'll get an Etsy store or something like that. We'll get it. We'll get it all together. I will call.
I don't know what that is either.
You don't know. You don't even Etsy, bro. Come on now.
I'm way too old. The tap technology has passed me. I can't even tap, Craig.
So I'm going to be honest. It's the only thing I use now. I got so confused the other day when I couldn't tap. I was like,
where do you tap it?
I just throw it around the little thing. We went out for ice cream last night. We met a couple of friends. Wait, guess. Oh, well, I guess we're gonna share. Anyway, we went out for ice cream last night. You know what my biggest fear was going out for ice cream? That they were cash only. Because you know who doesn't bring cash?
Those are the worst places ever.
There's
cash in my wallet, and I'm not sure how long.
There's a great little ice cream spot like 5 minutes from the house, and my daughter's like, "Oh, let's go get ice cream." I'm like, "I don't have any cash. I've got to go to the ATM, and then I can maybe go and do this." So
it's a process.
Anyway, just go and tap.
We're off the path already. All right.
No, we are on the path. Maybe what do you like on your ice cream? Maybe that's another shirt. I don't know. We'll figure this out. Emily, I know was commenting there. Maybe we can do a joint Saturday huddle and football and coffee store.
She goes on the front.
Yeah, she goes on the front. Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my question to you. Your Clemson Tigers and FSU Seminoles, I think those are the big ones that are always talking about, hey, we're going to move. We're going to the Big Ten SEC. Well, good friend of the show, Tony Saragusa, managing editor of Last Word on College Sports, reminded us Clemson and FSU aren't going anywhere regardless of this legislation. You remember when they sued the ACC last year? There was a big thing about that. Well, part of the settlement stated that Clemson and FSU have to remain in the Atlantic Coast Conference until 2030, and that they're going to carry a massive price tag in order to get out. And my question is, Clemson, FSU, do they carry enough sway for the SEC to ask ESPN, or for the Big Ten to ask Fox, hey, let's bring the big dogs into their conference? Can they make the financial sense make sense?
I don't think so, but I wonder if this congressional amendment will override that 2030, or if that gets thrown to the curb. I don't know. I mean, that's a crazy thing. I don't know if, because you're talking money, right? And and I mean, I love my alma mater, but we're in a very small market. Greenville is growing, but it's not. Greenville, Spartanburg, Asheville is the market. Asheville's North Carolina. So, who's my biggest fan? And also Duke. All right, sorry. I was reading comments that came up, and you guys, I didn't even put them on the screen. But no, I don't think, if you're talking money and markets, does the Big Ten want a little slice of South Carolina? The SEC already has South Carolina.
Yep.
It's already there. And whether Columbia, Greenville, it's probably negligible as far as the TV market. Then you talk Florida State. SEC already has Florida with Florida.
Yep.
Does the Big Ten want Florida? I mean, that maybe that could work better, I think, in my mind, than Clemson does. I think Clemson and Florida State are going to land somewhere.
Yep.
I really do. I've been saying this forever on every show I think I go on. I think the better fit for Clemson is actually the Big Ten. And I mean, geographically, it doesn't make any sense. But does geography make any sense currently in the landscape of college football conferences?
And that's the thing you wonder about, at one time, market size is the reason that we have Maryland and Rutgers in, hey, Rob, we have Maryland and Rutgers in the Big Ten. That mattered at one point. I don't know if that matters anymore. Now it's just, who can you pay? And I think what it's all about will be, is, who are those names? What are the brands? Our good friend Rob Williams gives us a nice transition. So let's put Florida State and Clemson on a shelf for a minute, because they're talked a lot about. I've got a couple of names for you, and again, in the chat, you can think about this too. Here are the names in the ACC that I think are probably most desirable. And let me know if I missed anybody. Duke, Georgia Tech, SMU, Louisville, Miami, North Carolina, and Virginia.
I don't think you need both Duke and North Carolina unless you're just solely wanting that rivalry for basketball.
Yep.
If that's, and I know you're smart to think that way, so that's why I'm questioning it. But the schools you mentioned are great markets outside of maybe Louisville, Kentucky. And I always go to that very baseline, very surface. You already have one in Kentucky, that money market, that TV market in Kentucky. And I know it's on opposite ends, or they're far enough away from each other. So I don't like Louisville there. I think you split Duke and North Carolina and have them. Everyone's going to hate that, but have them play like a Big Ten SEC challenge against each other every year.
Well, and that's the fun thing. Our buddy Rob Williams from Fourth Quarter Friday likes to talk about, hey, North Carolina and Virginia, right? Those are new states for the SEC.
And money and education, and yes, I mean, those two are the top, and it doesn't matter if they're winning in football.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But like, to me, and again, I'm going to show my lacrosse bias here. I think these are Big Ten schools, because if you bring in North Carolina, you bring in Virginia. No offense, but you're bringing in another Vanderbilt. You're bringing in another bottom feeder within like the SEC. Basketball, again, might be interesting. It's great to get into those states, but like, do you need to get into those states? My argument is like, the same thing I think you look at with Georgia Tech. The SEC is already in Atlanta. You don't really need Georgia Tech. Miami is interesting because I feel like Miami is a differentiator and something a little bit different. But do we want a team in either the Big Ten or the SEC that's never won an ACC championship?
I mean, even South Carolina has an ACC championship.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but when you first said Miami, I said, yeah. I mean, in my mind, I said absolutely, because Gainesville to Miami is a flight. I mean, it's not very close to each other.
It's a different part of the state.
Completely. Yeah, completely different part of the state. So, I mean, Tallahassee is too, right? Tallahassee's on that edge, and Gainesville's kind of at the armpit of Florida, and then Miami's down at the bottom.
Challenges with Duke and SMU. Both are private schools. Both are small. Do they fit in the SEC? Do they fit in the Big Ten, being small private schools?
Here's a terrible answer, and one that I hate, and one that stops conversations. Money. Both of those schools have a tremendous amount of money.
Yep.
So, and yes, they're small, and yes, but their endowments are enormous. That needs to be on a shirt too. My endowment is enormous.
My endowment. Have you seen my endowment? Let me talk to you about my endowment.
And just have Duke on the back.
And that that was the interesting part, right? Because the SEC is already in Texas. They have Texas. They have Texas A&M. Do they need to be in Dallas? Dallas has great branding. They have great money. They've basically paid their way into a P4. What I think I'm trying to get at right here, there's no slam dunk, right? There's no slam dunk. But now let's look a little further. I would say west, but now it's more geographical. Here are the teams that I think are most desirable in the Big 12. Let me know if I've missed anybody. Arizona State, Houston, TCU, Texas Tech, West Virginia.
I mean, are we looking for just a monopoly on Texas? One of these conferences just taking every Texas team?
I guess I left Baylor out of there because I think Baylor's a bit of a hot mess. They've been more
private
of a hot mess,
too, right?
Yep, the private school. TCU is a private school, but again, I think if you bring in the Hypnotoad, I can get on board with any Hypnotoad action. Texas Tech is interesting as long as you have Cody Campbell. We've also seen that benefit basketball, and we've also seen that benefit softball and baseball as well. Arizona State's a fun one, I think. It seems like that's a more fun university than Arizona. I don't know. I always forget about Arizona. I feel like I only know about the Sun Devils. But
yeah, Arizona State's ranked #1 party school like 9 years out of 10.
Right. I feel like even when we were in college 100 years ago, it was a #1 party school.
It was about 100 years ago.
Houston's interesting. Now, I'm going to say Houston, Texas A&M is not going to want Houston anywhere near the SEC. LSU's not going to want Houston anywhere near the SEC. But if I'm the Big Ten, do I want to go in the heart of Dallas? Do I want to take Houston and SMU if I'm the Big Ten? If I want to get into Texas, let's zig and zag, and maybe you pull Texas Tech. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? This is a really fun conversation, and I mean that. And I mean, I hate that it's not going to happen because it kind of drew excitement on the social media aspect of things, at least this past week and weekend, because it is exciting and it does kind of bring that talk back to the top priority, and you're like, ooh, this is fun to talk about during talking season. I hate that it's not going to happen. I'm one of those shit or get off the pot type of people, right?
Yep.
And
they have X-Lax for that if you can't get off the pot.
Well, it's more my knees they crack,
Brought to you by X-Lax. We'll help you slide through any problem you're getting. That was off the cuff, by the way.
Hey, well done. See, you can do that. See, you're showing potential sponsors that you can just live read off the cuff. You don't even need a script. We got you, Manscaped. Not a sponsor. But yeah, I think it's one of those things, like, I hate the starting and stopping. Yep. And I use a lot of cliches when I speak, I'm finding. But yeah, the starting and stopping, like, this is great conversation. And and it's really exciting and cool to talk about who's going where, because it's new and it's fresh, it's fun. Let's be honest, it is. Whether or not we can dissect for days whether who belongs where and what markets and whatnot, but it's fun to talk about. It's fun to think about.
It's kind of like, are you a James Bond guy?
No.
No. Well, I don't know what the hell. Oh, this reference is going to be lost on you. Anyway,
right, well, that might not be lost on others, and that's really what counts.
There's a great story in there. I can't remember. I can't remember what James Bond it was, but they talk about. Oh, hang on. What does Rob say here? You want to read that one for me, Casey?
Yeah, he says, I have you guys on surround sound watching LSU Clemson 2020 National Championship on mute and eating some chicken. I may have peaked. I'd have to agree. I think you did. And watching Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase just
what kind of cigar do you have, Rob? What kind of cigar do you have? Joe Burrow, Joe B smoking that cigar, January 2020. Fantastic. The College Football Inquirer after that one, though, Dan Wetzel, Pat Forty, and Pete Thamel, I think, recorded that one about 3:45 in the morning. That was beautiful radio. I think they had I think Dan got up in the middle of the show to refill the natural lights or the bush lights just to make sure everybody was well served.
No one better than Dan Wetzel, I'll tell you.
No, he's fantastic. Lives just not far from me. We got to get him on the show at some point. All right, Casey, I think we need a second cup here. And for those of you new to the show,
we need our guest back in the green room. He left the green room, so we need him back in the green room.
Well, we did tell him, 9:20 to 9:30 or something like that. Anyway, all right. So with that, I know Miss Emily Taylor was on earlier. We do have our second ad read of the night. Casey, take it away.
Every Saturday tells a story from the dramatic finishes and moments that shape a season to the deep-rooted rivalries, iconic traditions, and passionate people that make the sport unlike anything else. Welcome to Saturday Huddle, where we explore the real stories behind the game, hosted by Emily Taylor. Every episode brings you authentic behind-the-scenes conversations, taking you straight into the heart of college football. Don't just watch games, understand the stories driving them. Subscribe to Saturday Huddle right now on YouTube or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
Fantastic. Look at that.
We love that show, so check them out.
Fantastic. She had a great guest this week. She had Arkansas and Oregon State. That is on my feed for this week. I am athletic directing this week. I am building field goal posts and cleaning out a tennis hut and tennis shed for the season to get ready for the season. So
that sounds exciting.
It's going to be great. It's going to be navigating.
Speaking of exciting, there he is.
The man, the myth.
What's going on, guys?
Hang on. You've got to get your intro. We've got your intro here. Ready? Our guest today is Mitch, an avid Florida State fan and hater of the Gators, Hurricanes, and conference pride. You may have seen his X account FSU 3 times or his new TikTok account Bourbon and Ball. He is always willing to chat about college football, Florida State rivalries, rankings, and bourbon. Welcome to the show, Mitch.
What's going on, gents? How are we tonight?
Doing great. How are you?
Yeah,
thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, cheers. Oh, look.
There we go. What's in the cup? We got to start with what's in the cup.
So I brought props. How about that?
Yeah.
Tonight we're just going with a little Old Fitz number 7. A bottle that was way overpriced, which is when, of course, I bought it instead of, the $60 it's worth today. So
they do that, right? They're like baseball cards. If they come out hot.
That's exactly right, Casey.
Well, good. Now, do you get the special fancy ice? Are we using a crushed ice? Do we have the ball? Do we have the block cube? What are we using?
I got just regular ice tonight because it was easy. I'm kind of a ice snob in general, though, when I use ice.
Okay. And
ice ball should be crystal clear. So when I go to a bar in a restaurant or something and you get all this cloudy ice, I'm like, what are we even doing? Why is that costing me $2 more?
So little old me doesn't know the difference between clear ice and cloudy ice. So tell the readers, why is clear ice better for that drink?
Well, I mean, you can see that beautiful brown liquid just kind of floating around on the other side of the ice ball that way, see? And if you have the right clear ice, you should be able to hold a dollar bill up behind it and see through the ice ball to the dollar bill.
Wow. I
I'll
thought
send you
maybe
a
it's
picture. I'll send you a picture, Craig.
yeah. I thought
So,
maybe it's because of the like schmeg that's in the water that they're making the ice from.
yeah, it probably makes zero difference at all, but I need something that I can cling to that makes
Yeah,
people
I
think I know
want
what I'm
clean
talking
water
about.
and clean ice. I feel like I have clean ice right now in my iced tea. So
Yeah. There you go.
You think? Wait, hang on. It's brown. Would you notice if it was dirty water?
no, I wouldn't. Nor does it matter with iced tea.
Yeah. Right.
So, Mitch, we have to ask you. So, we were just talking a little bit about conference realignment. That there's a potential for it because it's always good fodder during talking season. Or if you need to write an article for Last Word, like I did last night, where does FSU best fit, or where would you see them go? Are they staying in the ACC to be kings of the ACC, or are they packing their bags for somewhere else?
Well, that's a really good question, and I think they're packing their bags. And I was listening, talking about the buyout and all that in 2030 and how that plays in. I think if FSU and Clemson are still in the ACC in 2030, we will be playing second tier football at that point. Because by 2030, I think the entire landscape is going to look so much different than it does now.
And it's only 4 years away.
I know. But if I were a betting man, as did Casey, would go Big Ten.
You afraid of the big dog? You afraid of running with the big dogs? Is that what that is?
Well, I tell you what, I think the only reason we would ever wind up in the SEC is so we don't wind up in the Big Ten. Honestly, you said it, Craig, that SEC has South Carolina. They have Florida. They don't need Clemson and FSU for those markets. They already have them.
Yep.
I think the Big Ten, just from a TV perspective, that's the two schools that would fit and kind of expand them even further than they are now. Both those programs bring a lot of eyeballs. As bad as FSU's been, they still, I think, last year were second in the conference in viewers. So
were they bad?
Well, they weren't good. They weren't good. So
I didn't know. I saw them in the Orange Bowl a few years ago.
Oh, here we go.
I appreciate that. Yeah,
that
Georgia.
They got rings though. They got rings. They got the state championship rings. I know that they got those. Look, you talked about poking on me. I'm preemptive here, baby.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you don't want to do. One of which is play Kirby when he's pissed off, and you're trotting a bunch of freshmen and walk-on guys out there to play All-Americans and 15 future NFL guys. That ended exactly as we all thought. As much hate as Notre Dame's gotten for opting out of the bowl game, looking back, I so wish FSU had opted out of the bowl game.
It worked out for them because they ended up number 4 in the preseason poll. So maybe it's like I remember that game. I had my cousin's wedding that night. Oh my God, I went to a fall wedding. I should be canceled from college football talk. Anyway, I did. Yeah. And then I came home that night and I had to write the recap. And I was like, all right, well, let's see. What are we going to say about that one?
Yeah, my wife and I were in Hilton Head for that game. And we sat at a bar there in Hilton Head. I think we were there for about 7 hours. So by the end of that game, I was probably not the nicest person to be around. And there were several Georgia fans sitting there. So
did you get barked at?
No, thank goodness, because I'd still probably looking for bail, and I'm way too old for that kind of stuff. So just way. I
like to say I lived in that Beaufort County area for 3 years. I like to say the home teams there are the University of Georgia and Ohio State. So anybody else is the visiting teams at any bar or restaurant in that area.
I can attest to that from that one day there.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
So yes, Florida State has struggled. It's to put it mildly. And again, I'm not poking here, just asking the question.
You just keep saying it. God.
I
feel bad for him now. The way that you keep talking. No, I'm not really.
No, you don't feel bad. So 2026, I think we all find it to be inevitable that at some point Mike Norvell will be fired. Am I wrong here? Like, and what I would love for you to do is like I look at Mike Norvell and I try to look at the whole time at FSU. And I feel like that 13-0 was almost the exception versus kind of the rule. Am I wrong there? And like, what are you expecting from Norvell and the Noles? I should have had Casey say that.
So thinking that through, I think Norvell has 2-year plans. He had a really bad 2-year plan to start with. He had 23 wins in the next 2 years. And now, we went back to what, seven wins the next 2 years, and here we are. So it's on the uptake, man. It's time for the good 2-year plan. Yeah, but I think
it's the Shane Beamer plan.
exactly. Yeah, right. I think you have to go back to when Norvell was hired. And no excuses. It's FSU, and we have not been what we all grew up knowing FSU to be. But the guy comes in December, no time to recruit. COVID hits. He has zero chance really to go out and do anything with high school coaches and recruiting and all that. It led to 2 really tough years. They have Jordan Travis, and the portal opens, and Norvell was, that first year or two really went into the portal. He brought in Jared Fisk, Trey Benson, Coleman, Johnny Will. Happened in the Orange Bowl. And I think kids believed. The first time in history, right? An champion gets left out of a playoff.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, Courtney, but I really think it was because of Nick Saban retirement tour. My opinion, anyhow. So they got kicked out. And I think everything he had spent those first 4 years building and teaching and just constantly pushing on these kids, they're like, what? It was gone. It's like, why? Why are we working this hard if we've done everything we can? We've beaten everybody we lined up against, blew LSU out, beat Florida to the end of the season. And then we get for it. So, those 13 guys went off to get NFL. There's party that understands that. Party wonders what heck, Oh, sorry. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
You're back.
You guys hear
Listen,
me?
we're patient with you. It's
Yeah.
all good. Listen. I think
Yeah.
Norvell is
sorry.
trying to hack your system to try to see, like, hey, like, listen, I don't need any more pebbles.
Right.
Well, it's
Listen.
usually
Yeah.
me on the MBG show. It's usually me. It's on my computer. So I was like, oh, all right, it's just me. All good. Maybe not.
A lot.
Hey,
You got me, Craig?
I got you.
No idea.
Well, all right. Yeah, that's all right.
What about me?
Yeah, you're good now.
You're good.
We get you in spurts, but most good.
Yeah,
Mostly good.
no idea.
You're all right.
Yeah.
Did you give your computer a drink?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Snub really sucked the soul out of the program. It just did. And it took to
We'll bring him back.
Yeah. Why don't we bring him back? Bring him.
Bring
That's
him
okay.
back. We'll bring him. We'll have him check it again. It's all right. We're new into the space. We're trying to get some folks in. No big deal.
Who hasn't had a little meltdown on the old what is it, Zoom or Google?
Well, you and
Meet
me
or-
before the show. We can peel back the curtain a little bit. You and me before the show. You couldn't hear me for we get on here early to do our pre-show meeting and everything, and we can't even talk. And so by the time we talked, and then I told the 12-minute story, we had to go. So we didn't even pre-show meeting this mess today.
We didn't even know what we were talking about today. We had luckily we got an agenda, but I mean it was close.
Who does agendas?
ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
Maybe.
So thinking about the snub from FSU, Mitch will join us back when he gets there. So that becomes the sliding door for that program. And we've talked about this, right? Jordan Travis was quarterback, then he got hurt. And it seems like Norvell has had that issue of trying to figure out who the quarterback was. He took your guy, DJ, did not work. And then last year he took Tommy Castellanos. Who did you see? He's go ahead. Tell me. No, you're gonna. It sounds like you're a Castellanos fella.
I was actually when he was at BC. I thought he was really pretty electric. He's little. He's Diego Pavia without the attitude. I thought that was going to work because of the Gus Malzahn hire, and that's I with the misdirection and again, full disclosure, I'm not an X's and O's guy, but I really can appreciate Malzahn's offense with people moving and shaking from all over the place. It looks like a CFL game at times. So I thought that was going to work using the running quarterback style. It didn't, and that's the thing. Like he hit on Jordan Travis, he hit on those receivers, he hit on Jared Verse, who was like a D2 defensive lineman, ends up being a number 9 overall pick, I believe. Like that guy's a flat out stud, and he was
Is that from Albany. The guy from Albany.
Albany, yeah.
Good lacrosse ball.
But he was amazing. Literally came out of nowhere and just had a lot of dog in him. And he wanted a chance to prove himself, goes to FSU and certainly does. That team was special. And that comes and saying that because Clemson and them played an absolute wonderful football game that year to the point where actually Clemson probably blew it at late, but hats off to Florida State because they came back and won. I mean, that was, I think it was an overtime game that year, but we got Mitch back, so we're going to bring him back and better than ever, as one show famously used to say.
Yeah,
Thank you for hanging with us. Sorry about our technical difficulties. We'll just always blame the show.
It was Casey, the producer. Perfect. It was not it. So you started the snub was the differentiator. So how has the snub impacted Florida State since that time?
Yeah, I mean, I think they really needed to wash the entire roster to get back, and they're pretty close to that now. Coaching staff as well. So Norvell has not looked like the same guy for 2 years. I think I see a little bit of that energy back. That I don't know that he lost the energy, but everything that he believed in was taken away with that snub. I really believe that. Now, a lot of FSU fans are probably in total disagreement with that and will say he's just not that good of a coach. I think we'll see. I think they have a better roster this year than maybe what they've had the last couple. They've brought in through the portal some guys who have actually produced rather than guys who were stars in high school that were just that. They had not done anything and they came in based on talent. So it'll be interesting to see if he's able to take this roster. It's not Miami's roster, let's be honest. I wish it was, but they're not that talented, but they can pretty much line up at least the starting 11 on both sides with just about everybody else on the you just don't win in college football without elite or very high quality quarterback play. And if he can give them that, then they've got a chance. Then some of those 50-50 games become games that are much more winnable. I'll say this. I think this season we'll know what to expect this season in game 2, which seems nuts. But when SMU comes to Tallahassee, we'll find out what Florida State has. If they find a way to win that game, who knows what's going to happen in Tuscaloosa the following week. I mean, that's not going to be an easy place to go win and beat Bama 2 years in a row. But beating SMU, I think will give some of that energy back. That'll allow them to take a lot of those 50-50 games we're just not that quite sure about right now.
No, they got the Wisner kid too from Texas.
From
right?
Texas, they do. Yeah. They've got a really strong running back room.
So correct me if I'm wrong, and I saw a lot of Florida State, been following Clemson very closely since 1995. Sorry, I wasn't a fan in high school, but since 1995, the one thing that Florida State always seems to have is a really good running back, like annoyingly good running back. I remember sitting in the West End zone when Dalvin Cook took a pitch to the left and he ran right at my face, and I still see it in my nightmares. But it just seems like, and you really haven't had that guy in the last few years, probably since the Jordan Travis years. But I don't know. I think just having Wisner on that team is going to solidify that space too. And you guys always have frisbee catching dogs on the outside, always.
And I think one of the benefits of going to Tuscaloosa is the fact that Kalen DeBoer is still the head coach. Now, some people will mock me for that, but like I am very critical of Kalen DeBoer because yes, he does have a good record. Yes, he is impressive. But one of the things that you can look at from Kalen DeBoer, you can look at his time in Washington and you can look at his time in Alabama. They play to their competition, whether that's up or down. And depending on where Florida State is, depends on where Alabama is and how they're going to play them. Now, here's the thing. They could lose to Florida State in week 3, and then they'll come back and they'll beat Georgia like by 15 points, the next month, which would not be a surprise. But again, that is my one criticism and my one major knock that I've gotten a lot of flack for is just because of Kalen DeBoer. You should be able to set the standard. You should be able to go and continue to move forward. So, but all right, so let's talk a little bourbon and ball. So you've been known on the Twitter. I still call it the Twitter. I think we're all old enough to still call it the Twitter instead of X or whatever the hell we call it. You've been FSU 2 times. Now you're FSU 3 times. What's with bourbon and ball? Where did that come from? What are we expecting by going on the talk? Because I think that's what the kids are calling it these days, by giving bourbon and ball a foul.
Yeah, well, you look at me and you wonder, why is that guy on the talk at all? So that would be the first thing. I'm far removed from being a kid. That kind of started my FSU 2 times account, my original Twitter account. I built up a pretty good following there. Probably, not nothing huge, but 1,500, 2,000, somewhere right in that range, and had a good following. I tried to always stick to sports. FSU, a little bit of Braves, a little bit of Falcons, bourbon, because that's just something I love to try and test out, and smoked meats. So, we'll make a mean brisket here in Georgia. But that TikTok really started because I was looking for a platform to go put some cool videos about mixing those two things up. And I was sitting talking here with my wife one day, and I'm like, I wonder if anybody would be interested in just these weird pairings of top 25 football games with bourbons, and just comparing and contrasting, a bottle with a game. So that's kind of how the idea came about. We'll see where it goes. It's still brand new, but and I really need the season to start to get into what that account's supposed to be. I'm putting a little content out there right now, but it's mostly just filling time till we get to that first week, where we've got 3 pretty good games to talk about.
Bourbon and ball is on talking season now too.
Yep. No, it's been really good. I've
really
enjoyed.
I'm on.
Go ahead. Sorry, I talked over you.
Yeah. Sorry. No. Same. Apologies. Yeah. It's just, I've been trying to find things that interest me. I love the traditions of college football. What kind of entrances do teams have? There's been a couple videos on that. What are some of the other things? The Battle Hymn of the Republic. I had a small little video on that today on TikTok. Those are just the coolest things. And it's what's made us all love college football. It's what's differentiated it from the NFL for so many years. And as that college model moves to an NFL model, really, that's still the things I hold on to that make college football what it is.
No, it's been an excellent follow. I know I've enjoyed it and appreciate it. So with that in mind, I think we had a question for you that we got you together. We want you to put together what your 3 favorite bottles are and tell us what makes them elite and how do they match up with some of the iconic college football programs. Give you a little teaser for what you can expect on Bourbon and Ball.
A little taste, if you will.
A little taste, exactly.
A little sampling.
Yeah. We'll pour a little into this right now and hope it'll have some results.
Exactly.
I'm looking forward to this segment, and I did take a little bit of a twist, Craig. I instead of focusing on my 3 favorite bottles, I picked 3 teams, and I decided to take 3 bottles I thought matched those 3 teams perfectly. Well, I'm a Florida State guy. I grew up in Tallahassee. I grew up in the era of the Big 3. The national championship ran through Florida State, Miami. Every one of those teams was going to play for it. It seems like every year. So I thought, what better way than to kick this off than to take those three teams and let's match up a bottle for those three. So again, I've got props with me, and I'm going to start with Miami. And Miami, to me, is a Kirkland's small batch. So it's a Costco version of bourbon. So why? Yeah. So they pair very, very well. They kind of run the same hustle. It's like, this is premium, but it's a great value. The roster costs a fortune, but the branding screams about the glory days. And for a minute, you really think you've uncovered something special. Then you start checking into it and you see an empty trophy case for the last 25 years. And you don't see any medals around the Kirkland bourbon. So there's a lot of similarity. So, every year Miami's dropping we're back every offseason. And it's kind of like a recurring charge on a credit card. You can count on it every year showing up. So, when in fact, the only thing really that shows up for Miami is disappointment. Meanwhile, at least with the bourbon, it quietly gets the job done. So they kind of split apart a little bit there. So that's my match for Miami.
I like that.
Of course, I'm saving FSU for last. I'm Elijah Craig's small batch, but it has to be the 2025 Ryder Cup edition. Only that bottle matches up with UF. So why? Well, in Florida football, we all know a little too well that they show up loud, very confident, convinced that the world's going to take notice. And much like FSU the last couple of years, they just pretty much get beat down week after week after week. So, and that compares nicely to the Ryder Cup team of 2025. It was pretty brash and pretty bold until they showed up, and then they got their tails handed to them. So, at the end of the day, it was both kind of disappointing. The hype was very much premium, but the results may have been less than stellar. And to be honest, in this regard, the bourbon ended up doing way more heavy lifting than like the Florida offense did during the season. So, at least with the bourbon, you got what it promised. They delivered what they promised on there. And shockingly, now that we're moving on to FSU, my third bottle is a Weller single barrel, which is a very hard bottle to find these days. So why have I mixed those or matched those two up? They do have a lot in common. They're both priced high. We're spending $20-25 million on a roster, which maybe isn't that high in college football these days. And we may still be living in the glory years. But they both inspire people to camp out and spend way too much money and kind of leave you staring at their seat, wondering if you got what you paid for these days. So, if we look at kind of the dynasty era and 14 years of finishing in the top 5, and that's where we're focused. Well, we've had flashes of greatness over the last couple of years. I wish I'd have stopped watching FSU football last year after Alabama and just didn't know what happened from there on out. But at the current price, you really have to start asking yourselves if you bought truly a top shelf bourbon, or just is it another rebuilding year for the team? One of the two. So that's the kind of content I hope we share a little bit of on Bourbon and Ball on TikTok.
Yeah, we appreciate you sharing that with us. A little taste of what to expect on Bourbon and Ball.
Yeah, a little clear ice. No, that is absolutely fantastic. Mitch, I want to thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, before he goes, I have to say my tagline. Where can we find you, Mitch?
Yes, right. I appreciate it. No. I'll gladly say it again on Twitter. It's at FSU 3 times, and on TikTok, it's at Bourbon_and_ball. So appreciate all the follows on both, and appreciate you guys having me on tonight on episode 2.
Of course. Thank you for coming. We appreciate you.
All right.
Have a good
Take care.
friend. Bye. That was enjoyable.
Superb.
That was enjoyable. Makes me think about maybe we got to switch what's in the cup. Maybe, I don't know.
During the season, we'll see. Depending on how our teams do, we may not have a choice.
Come on, what could possibly go wrong with Georgia and Clemson besides them screwing up them actually playing each other in Athens or Clemson?
I'm not sure Georgia's going to screw up anything. In fact, I did place a little fun bet on Georgia winning the national championship.
Couple of shekels, huh?
Well, literally a couple. But
That's good. That's probably smart. That's
I
smart.
just wanted to see. I wanted to see.
You
See
got
what happened.
it's
The
easy
last
to do.
time I did that, Matthew Stafford and AJ Green were on the team, and I was in Vegas, and I was like, these jokers won't lose to anybody. And I think they ended up like 7-5 or something like that.
That's Mark Rich's fault. We will not blame Matthew Stafford and AJ Green for that. But we could take AJ. I mean, AJ Green. Let's be honest. AJ Green could probably start for this year's Georgia Bulldogs. I have no idea who's going to be at wide receiver. So
Somerville High School, AJ Green.
Ooh, I like it.
Right here in my neighborhood.
You
Should've
got a
gone
nice
to
area.
Clemson.
There's no Detroiters, I don't think, on the Georgia roster this year.
I would hope not.
The Mathis quarterback from 2020, who Stetson Bennett took over, was not far from us and did not end up making it long. Dwayne Mathis, feel like something
like that. Clemson, one of Clemson's best baseball players is from the Detroit metro area.
It's Frankenmuth. What's his name?
No, not Titsworth, but
not Titsworth. Titsworth, yeah, Titsworth. No, he's from Frankenmuth. That's a little bit north of us.
Jaron Purify is a Detroit kid.
Oh, nice, very good. Titsworth was pretty good though too.
He was. He's in the league. Well, in the minor league system.
That's all right. That's good.
All right, where are we going? 51 minutes in, buddy.
51 minutes. Is Palk here yet, or is he not here yet?
I don't know.
Oh, there he is.
I'm wearing your favorite. This is for you, Craig.
He's a terrible
guest. Did you get that at Walmart?
We have to talk to you first before you start talking on our show.
I gotta say, FSU 3 times. I'm impressed and also disappointed that all the bottles were full. Because if that was my task,
showed us previously, it wasn't the one he was sipping on for the the football and coffee. Was very little left.
If you'd watched the whole show, Mr. Manscaped.
Well, he was on the bottom. I saw him in the green room with like 3 different cameras, whatever. He has to make himself look pretty. So
don't worry about it.
In and out and different. And I don't know what he was doing.
Palk, don't let anybody fool you. You've got a face for podcasting.
Thank you.
No worries at all. How are you, my friend? How's it going in South Bend this week? Everything okay?
I think so. In Corpus Christi, it was like 100 degrees and hot. Whoa.
Speaking of hot.
Lost y'all. Jiminy Lou. I went fishing and we caught a dead fish. No, for real. It was about that big, but it was dead. That was an adventure in its own. So that was fun.
Wait,
we caught a real fish.
Pull it out dead, or it was dead?
No.
What happened?
Yeah, so we caught a real fish, me and my boys. A real, I don't know, catfish, maybe 6-7 inches, threw it back. There was a floating dead fish, and we picked it up. It probably weighed about 15 pounds.
I saw a picture of it.
But it was floating. And my boys are like, we're going to get it. I'm like, how in the world do you plan on getting it? So if you're a fisherman at all, which I'm not, but you hook the line to your little rod and made like a gap with the line and the pole and slid it over the fish and pulled up. And it took 2 of us to do the poles and the third to grab the fish. And as my wife pointed out, who was watching this circus happen? And I said, there were some individuals. And I got it, threw it on the dock and said, look, we caught a fish.
Well done, Dad. Well done.
How was it? Did you cook it up?
No, dude. So I heard that if a fish is already dead in the water, it's the worst fish to eat because you don't know
how long it's been dead.
Correct. There's a lot of mercury and stuff.
What made it die?
Exactly. And on top of that, right by its tail, there was a big chunk taken out of it. So yeah, we chucked it back, but it was a fun story.
That's a good story. I like that story.
For those that don't know, this is our friend 5'0" Pod. He is the only Notre Dame person that we will let anywhere near this show, and only for a minute.
Let's go
for a minute. Speaking of which,
what you got,
Mr. Palk? We are inside 3 weeks until kickoff. The preseason polls are out. Casey is excited, and the eternal debate over the future of college football's most famous independent is back on the table. It's time to play start, bench, cut. Notre Dame's future. Join the SEC, join the Big Ten, remain independent. Who are you starting? Who are you benching? Who are you cutting? Your time starts now.
Okay, if we're going football strictly, I'm benching the ACC. It's like taking out all the other nuances that go into it. Bench the ACC. It's just as Bourbon and Ball, FSU 3 times. Mitch pointed out, it's kind of dead in the water. You're out. Whew. Okay, now it becomes independent or the Big Ten, and like the Big Ten.
SEC.
I thought
We're
you said Big
assuming
Ten.
no, we're assuming they're leaving the ACC. Are they going to the SEC, the Big Ten, or
Ah.
40
listening,
seconds.
listening is hard. All right, well, we're benching the SEC because I don't want any part of that.
30
chaos.
seconds.
you're scared?
No, I just the fans, man.
It's his minute.
Yeah, I don't. No,
Gregory.
thank you. Here's the deal. Independence is a big deal, and the fact of the matter is, Craig, Casey, if your teams could be independent, they would. And secondly, I am still waiting for someone to give me a clear answer on the benefits of being in a conference versus independence. But if I'm being real, which Casey knows I can be, looking forward, I don't think independence in 5 years from now is a reality. So I would choose the Big Ten as my option versus the SEC. Although if there are no parameters and no future, independence forever.
Time.
Thanks, Paul.
Well done. Well done, buddy. We
Cheers.
appreciate you. That was the Irish Minute.
That was the Irish Coffee Minute.
Irish Coffee Minute.
That was good.
That guy's great.
He's phenomenal. Well, that was a fantastic little conversation. To end the show, I have a question for you, my friend.
Yeah, give it to me.
You are probably one of the guys who enjoys preseason polls more than anybody else.
I'm not sure there's anybody out there that loves them more.
No, I don't think so. Well, the coaches poll came out this week. The SEC won the preseason national championship by having 9 teams in the polls. The Big Ten put a little disrespect on Indiana. There's some disrespect. Ohio State was number 1. Oregon was number 2. I don't think the coaches know how to Google because Indiana came in at number 7. Now, just let's remind you of the resume. Now, I know this was last year, Casey, but I think it still should hold. 16-0. They beat Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, and they dismantled, we won't say dismantled. They beat Oregon twice. They beat them once in Eugene, and then just absolutely dismantled them in Atlanta. I would say that's more Rodney Dangerfield than anything else era. So, Big Ten, SEC, they obviously won. They're dominating everything else. My question to you, my friend, who's number 3? And we're looking at like big picture here. Is it our boy Palk, Notre Dame? Is it the ACC where Miami came in at number 7, SMU was 20, your Clemson Tigers were 23? Or was it the Big 12 who had 4 teams in the poll, all between like 12 and 20, but no one higher than 12?
Yeah, that's a good question. CJ Carr's back for Notre Dame, and he's one of the few names that I know, so I mentioned it. I know they lost at least one of their running backs from last year. Did they lose them both?
I think both of them were drafted. I'm not the NFL guy here, but I think
they have been. And if we still had Palk on the show, he's still in the green room, but I'm not bringing him back. 1 minute.
Not if that's accurate.
1 minute is way too long. So I think they're going to be good, right? I mean, they're going to be right there. So I would probably put them there. I think Texas, though. Are they number 2? Who'd you say is number 2? Oregon's number 2.
Yeah. So one was Ohio State.
Ohio State.
2 was Oregon. 3 was Texas. 4 was Georgia.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're right there. I think 1 through 5. You guys had it on your last show with SEC Sunday Night talking about the SEC 1 through 7, or 1 and 2 were the top 2, and then 3 through 7 were negligible. I think that's what the coaches poll kind of saw too. With after 1 and 2, well, I guess probably 1 through 4, 1 through 5 with Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon. On paper, I think that's what you do. the knowns are the quarterback position. Everyone knows. Mitch said it earlier. If you have a quarterback, so goes your team. And all 5 of those teams have a known quarterback.
Yep.
So I think between Julian Sayin and Dante Moore and CJ Carr, see, I know way more names. And that Manning kid, and then
He's
the Gunner Stockton, who just goes out and wins games. He's not flashy.
No.
So I think you have known entities at the top 5. I think that's fine where they go. Whether you put Notre Dame at 3, Texas at 3, Georgia at 3, I think anybody's guess. And like I said, I have a little bit of what my mom used to call la boost. I put a little la boost on Georgia and Texas, both, because I feel like one of those 2 teams is going to win.
I like that. The one question I had, I wrote it up on Last Word. We'll put it in the show notes, obviously. But the question is on if Brennan Sorsby doesn't put a little labouche on, well, a lot of labouche on anything. Does Texas Tech go higher than 12, or is that probably about where they were at? I think that was the one question I had.
Yeah, I think that's what they are. I think they're right there at the fringe, getting that Big 12 spot and in the playoff. I'd have to see the poll. And again, I hate them with the white hot intensity of 1,000 suns. For those that didn't pick up my sarcasm earlier, I think they're meaningless till about mid-October. And I do try to mention every single person on Twitter that says the same thing. So, I think 12 is fine for them for the sake of this segment and not completely ruining it. I think that's for the Big 12. That's where they are. I mean, they're going to BYU should be pretty good again this year, right? They have that sophomore quarterback that wears
Bear Brockmeyer, number 47,
number 506 on his jersey. Like, what are you trying to do, guy?
He's trying to show he's impressed. He went to Stanford for a minute, so he's probably
I will talk about the number 23 ranked Clemson Tigers, and my point, and I told you this in a text earlier in the week, that I'm going to say something that probably people don't like or people don't want to hear.
That's okay. That's why I got you.
I truly believe that Clemson was ranked so that LSU could have a top 25 win early in the season. I don't know. I just talked about it ad nauseum about the quarterbacks and what you know. Clemson doesn't know who their quarterback is. Now, yes, it's supposed to be Chris Vizina. This is not a Clemson show, so I'm not going deep. Then they have a freshman named Tate Reynolds, both of which you don't know. Vizina played in one game last year against the worst defensive backfield in the country and threw for like 400 yards and 6 touchdowns, lost the game. But it's like what we saw DJU against Notre Dame during the COVID year, threw for like 565 yards, lost. We thought we had something special. Now the mood is tempered around Tiger Town, but how are you going to rank a team that's 7-6? And I agree with those guys that's on the what was the something 3 cover 3 podcast. Those guys who've been on the MPG show. Sorry, 2 of them have anyway. But I think they're 100% right in the fact that how do you rank a 7-6 team in the top 25? Now there's a bunch of them outside of Clemson, but we won't get into that. I think that's 100% why they're ranked in the top 25. You got
to get Lane feeling good about himself. You got to get the Tigers happy. So I'm right there with
9 dudes got drafted off a 7-6 team. 3/4 of the defensive line got drafted. You hit on a guy in the portal that then leaves you in the middle of the night to go to Ole Miss. So now they're back to who they had previous, who obviously they didn't like because they had to go out and get a top linebacker from somewhere else. Now they did rebuild the back side of the defense. Again, not a Clemson podcast. I'm sorry, I'm on my soapbox here. I'll stop.
No, there's
just a lot of unknowns that we do. They did get 11 guys in the portal. I know for those Dabo haters, you guys are gonna be like, "What?" No, he got 11 dudes in the portal. 10 of which came on the defensive side.
Yeah,
1 offensive player, running back from SMU, Chris Johnson Jr. No relation.
No, yeah. So no, this is the kind of good stuff that we are looking for. I think it's interesting. Like I said, the preseason polls, I think Ralph Russo had it right. Ralph Russo, maybe future guest of Football and Coffee. He's been on
MBG.
MBG.
Yeah,
fantastic. Ralph
is
is
great.
great. Yeah, Ralph is fantastic. He's like, listen, I got to about 16 or 17, and then he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. From like 17 to like 35, there's probably not a difference. So if you're mad and offended, just win your damn football games. But I think overall, what did we learn tonight, Casey? Clear ice is better than cloudy ice.
That's all I learned, really, if we're being honest.
Is my mic on?
No.
And should we listen fully to the question? Would probably help. Anyway, my friend, I had a great time. Thank you all for
Always.
joining us. Thank you to our friend FSU 3 times on Twitter, Bourbon _and_ball on the TikTok, and our buddy 5'0" pod, Mikey Palk. For Casey, I'm Craig. Make sure that coffee stays warm. We'll see you next week.